Hello everyone, it's Jen. Welcome to our Fearless and Fabulous blog hop. In honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we used the Fearless and Fabulous card kit to make some fun cards. So I hope you're checking out everyone's projects today, all of the designers that did things. I made 6 cards. One that is a shaker, one that is done in a little bit different way, and then the other 4 are pretty basic, but I did layer them with some other stuff. So I'm going to show you these, and I will have this slow mode a little in my video so you can see all that shaker goodness. And then on the inside I used the little wax seals that go with the kit on paper and left that open. Give you another quick rundown. And for this one, I paneled my card front into 1-inch strips and then matted each one of those separately and popped them up on a white card base. Again, we have that fun little wax seal. This one has the little witch and the cauldron with the breast cancer awareness ribbon showing there. Wicked Strong seemed to be the fitting sentiment for that. And again, I have those little wax seals. For this one, we have the girl with the butterfly, and I put Fearless in pink, popped a few little crystals on here. Hopefully you can see those. This one also has the crystals at the points of the stars. And we have Pink Power. And I did those seals on all of these. And then of this one, it might be my favorite. In October, we wear pink. With all the little geese down here with their little pink outfits on. Super duper cute. This one dressed as a mummy. And again, our little seal. So that is my cards. I'm going to show you next how I made them. Hi everyone, it's Jen. Welcome to our little breast cancer awareness blog hop. I am going to be making some cards today using the Fearless and Fabulous Breast Cancer Awareness Card Kit. This is a fun little kit. There are 12 A2 card fronts, 6 different designs, 2 sentiment sheets, stamps, wax seals, and 4 tags. So this is what you get in this little card kit. I think there's a tag missing out of my papers I'm holding. Oh, nope, there they are. Super cute. Just these beautiful images. And we're going to start with making a fun little shaker card using this one. I'll also be using black artisan, white 65-pound smooth, and acetate, as well as this sugared coral Craft Perfect glitter cardstock. So I have cut my pieces. My card front is black artisan, cut to 9 by 5 3/4, and it was scored on the 9 at 4.5 to make our 4.5 wide card. I've also cut a piece of 4 1/4 by 5.5 of the black artisan to make a frame for my shaker. I cut from the white sheet of sentiments. Breast cancer is boo sheet. Super cute saying. Then I have white at 4 1/4 by 5.5. This will go on the inside of the card. And then I also have cut a piece of that sugared coral at 4 3/8 by 5 5/8. Okay, so let's get started. We will first start by making our frame. Now, if you have a perfect die that can cut 3.5 by 4 3/4 out of your black artisan, great. I do not think I have one. So I am going to simply show you how I got the measurements on here. I used my scoreboard. I put the piece of artisan that is 4 1/4 by 5.5 in, and I took my scoring tool, went over to the 3/8 of an inch on both the top and here to start my corner, and then scored down, and I did that all the way around. So I'm just lining up my tool with right around where the 3/8 is here, and then down. And that's how I got my 3/8 of an inch. Now when I cut it, I will use my ruler just to make sure that it's all lined up at 3/8. And then I will go right to that corner where I started. And make sure you end either just before or right on your lines. You don't want to go over. I'm going to do the same here and be obviously very careful with a craft knife. They are extremely sharp. And I'm just going to finish cutting this. Lining up all of my lines to make sure I am right at that 3/8. And one more. And then I will do any adjusting that needs to be done if I didn't cut all the way. I prefer not to cut right at the corner, and then I can go in and fix it. See, this one I didn't get quite to the corner, but it is very easy to go in and pull that. See, now I have my nice 3/8 inch frame. Save this piece. We might use it on another one of the cards. Put my craft knife away. And then I have cut 4 1/4 inch strips of foam adhesive that has double-sided. So this is a pack of the ones that you can get from CCC. And I am just going to measure what I need here. I want to start with the length of just in here. So you can either do it that way or you can do it all the way across. You want it to make sure it's sealed. So I'm going to go the full 5.5. So I am going to put this on here. This is 5.5. No, this is 6. So I just need to see where my 5.5 is. And I'm going to cut that off. And I'm going to grab my card front because I need this. Now, why is that so short? What did I do? I did something wrong here. I don't know. I cut too much off. So let's try that again. We're just going to put this on. So I'm going to glue one side down. Get all the sticky stuff or the backing off of here. And I want this right at that edge, and then I can clip it off. Let me make sure I'm right on my edge, all the way down. All right, now I can clip that off at the bottom of the card, just like so. I'm going to leave this sticky on for now. And I'm going to grab the one that I cut too short, because I need a little bit shorter ones for the top and bottom, obviously. I'm going to put that one on right as close to that last one's foam as possible. And on the edge again. And then I'm going to go to the back side. And I'm going to trim that. And the next long one. Peel the backing off. Excuse me. And get it right up against there and right along that edge. And there are lots of ways to make your own shaker. If you don't have foam, you can cut frames from chipboard and stack them to the thickness that you would like. Now, this one's going to be a little trickier. I'm actually going to have to go in and measure what I need and then clip it, because I can't just cut it off on the end. And I cut these strips from a sheet with my rotary cutter, so it left some of the white kind of scraggly on the edges, which I'm not a fan of, but this is what I had in my stash, so it's what I used. All right, get that all in there nice and tight up against the other pieces. And voila, there is the base of the shaker, okay? Now, I am going to adhere my orange to the black cardstock card that I made. And we can leave some of that black showing all the way around. Get that on there as good and straight as I can. And get rid of all the excess glue that I have a ton of, it seems. And it slid. That's one thing about this shiny cardstock. It likes to slide around. And it really slid. That's all right. All right. I'm going to go ahead and pop that piece of white on the inside. And this is where you could stamp or write a sentiment inside. Probably pop one of these little seals on here as well. Or fussy cut one of those out. I like the really pretty florally one, so I'm going to get this little wax seal. And I'm just going to fussy cut this. Really quickly. I say really quickly, but you know, fussy cutting is not always really quick. And I missed. All right, so I'm just gonna glue this adorable little seal here at the bottom of the card. So we have that, and then like I said, you can stamp or write a sentiment in there. And then we will put our card face on top of the orange. And you're only going to see a little bit of that orange. But I want to get it on here a little straighter. And mine is definitely not straight. I probably should have put the card front on before I put the foam on there, but this is fine. All right, I'm going to grab a different type of bone folder here so I can really smooth my card front down on top of that glitter cardstock. Again, it does like to slip. And that's what you have so far. Now I'm just going to grab, I have these Buttons Galore and More crystals in pink. These are called Strawberry, and I will let you know if they're still available below. I'm not sure. I bought these from CCC quite a while back. But I'm going to sprinkle a few of these in there because they're really bright and pretty and very pink. And then I just have my mix of pink sequins. It's all about pink. And I'll throw some of those in there. It's another mixture. Okay, I'm going to grab some tweezers here and get the ones off that are in the, before we put the sticky down. Now I am just going to simply remove all of the sticky backing from the frame. And you will have to go too deep if you, on the foam, if you want to have more embellishments inside your shaker. And this is really crooked here. Trying not to stick my hands to it. I'm going to take my acetate that I made the same size so that it would fit nicely. Okay. And stuff, of course, wants to stick. All right. Now I can go around and push all that acetate along, just along the edges. You don't want to scratch your acetate. Just getting it all along the edges here. And I got one here that wants to bug and get stuck, so I'm gonna have to peel my acetate up here really quick so I can move that stone. This foam tape I'm using is extremely sticky, but I need that jewel to get unstuck. There we go. All right. Okay, now I'm just going to grab that black frame that I made and add glue to it. And this one is the only one I'm going to make a shaker. I just thought it would be fun to do one as a shaker. The rest of the card fronts I am going to make very basic, simple cards with you. I'm going to put this right over the top of that. Line that up as best as you can, so it covers all of that acetate. And you may want to go around and just kind of push in your foam with a bone folder, because that foam does have a tendency to move, and it's squishy, so you can manipulate it and move it out of the way if it's showing. All right, I'm just going to go down and burnish the frame down onto the acetate. Grab my little sentiment, and it's going to go right across. Should we put it on the bottom or the top? Or we can put it all the way across. Like so. I think we're going to put it across. I like that. Let's see where our little ghosty is in here. I think it needs to go across the top so we see our ghosty. And this is the same length as the card. I didn't cut any off. All right. So there we have our first card. Open that up. Okay, on to the next. All right, so I have the rest of my cards ready to go and cut out. We will start with this next one that's a little bit more in depth than the last four. They're basically just cut and pastes. This one I decided to cut the card front into pieces. So these are 1-inch strips. So I tried to keep as much of the white spacing as I could. And then 1 1/8 by, so these come out to 1 by 5 1/2. So I did black strips at 1 1/8 by 5 3/8. And I used this glittery pink. It's an older My Colors at 1 1/4 by 5 3/4. And then I'm just going to show you, I did a white cardstock base that is, it's about 5 3/8 by, I'm not quite sure why that is not measuring, but let me just, I know I cut it better than that. Yeah, it's 5 3/8 by not quite 6, which I'm not quite sure why it's not 6. I think it should have been 6. Give me 1 second. Goodness. No, it should be 5 7/8, I believe. We'll see. Well, we'll trim it if needed. But I did start with a piece that was 10 1/2 by 6, and I scored that at 5 1/4. So that's where we're supposed to be. Yeah, 5 3/8. So 10 3/4 by 6, and this was scored on the 10 3/4 at 5 3/8. It's just a little bumpy, so it did that. So we're gonna assemble our pieces first. We'll put our blacks and our pinks and our card front strips together. So black onto our pink. It's just easier to assemble these first and get them all in alignment, and then we can glue them down to the card base. That is, if Jen puts it on there correctly, which I missed a little bit. But that's okay. It's fixable. There we go. And you might want to set these side by side when you do this, just so you know your black and your pink are all lining up. I do have a little temp tape on the back of these, and it's making it a little sticky. I'm thinking this one is a little wider. It is a little wider. This should be 1 1/4. It is. Just my mind playing tricks on me. So I'm going to line these all up on my desk here. Because like I said, I have a little bit of double-sided repositionable tape on the back. And then I can see where my blacks are going so they line up. All right, now the black one is on there. Hopefully that makes sense. I have a desk that I can do that with. I mean, you can do it with any mat or desk. Just use repositionable tape. I probably shouldn't have it at an angle, but you know, that's how they went down. So, just trying to get my spacing as good as I can so that when we put them on the card front, lines up nicely. Okay, last black. I hope you guys are enjoying our blog hop today. Make sure you check out all of the designers' projects. That one seems a little off to me, but it's not. It's probably my cutting. All right, so I have all those down. Now we have our first glove is this one. I'm gonna put this one on. And because these are long, you might see a little more black on the sides than you do on the bottom and top, and that's okay. I didn't trim these top and bottom ways. I just trimmed the sides of the card front to cut them into those 1-inch strips. All right, and then we have this one. And this one seems a little skinnier, but that's all right. You still get the effect. Last one. Got lots of extra glue on that one. All right, we have all those down. Now I'm going to take my card base, and I cut a piece of light pink cardstock to put inside as a liner. We have 5 1/4 by 5 3/4. This is just so you could stamp or write a sentiment. You could also leave it blank. Just leave the white in there. I just like to embellish the insides of my cards as well as the outside. I might have cut that actually a little too wide, but that's all right. Oof. Didn't mean to do that. And then I cut out some of these fun little, the wax seals that you get with it. And I'm putting those on the insides. We'll do the hot pink on this one. Just simply going to glue one of those right inside there. Like I did with the shaker, the first card we made. We have that. And I'm going to give this a much better burnish than what I did originally and get my repositionable tape gunk off of there. the dropsies here, dropping stuff. All right, so we're going to take our first little strip here and line it up so I can see where it needs to go. And then I will just add glue to the backs. Don't need the fuzz that's on my desk attached to the card for sure. And then you just want to line this up as well as you can so you get proper spacing. It just adds a little pop of extra pink doing it this way. Just another way to use the card fronts rather than just sticking them on, which you also can do. You can also make folios and stuff out of these card kit, the card front kits. Now this, we really want to line these up. Try to get that spacing good. And like I said, I may need to trim a little once I get these where I want them. Next one, I got them a little too stuck to my desk there. I made my card front larger than I think I need, so we'll probably do a tiny bit of trimming, and that is okay. I just want to get my spacing. Let's go wide at the top, there we go. And then I might have just a little bit of overhang, so I'm going to end up trimming this. I can see it already. And then I will let you know what that trimmed down to, so that if you haven't already cut your card base out of the white cardstock, you can adjust. You can also do more than one mat to account for that extra. You could throw another hot pink or darker pink mat underneath of here. And that looks good to me. I'm actually just going to leave mine. Yes, it's a little thicker on this side, but I already did the pink on the inside, so I don't want to cut mine. As long as everything else is lining up, and it is. I'm going to flip this open and give it a good burnish on the back. Just to make sure all of our panels are nicely stuck down. And there we have that. And then I have this Fight Like a Ghoul, and we're going to stick that on. I banner cut the ends of this sentiment, and I'm just going to pop it up on some black artisan. Just a scrap I have. And then once I get that, we can trim this. And this is not going to be perfect as far as the trimming goes on the black, but we want to cut enough that we have a border of black showing. It in no way needs to be perfectly straight. You can use a cutter if you want it perfectly straight. I am not really concerned. I do want to cut just a little bit more off of there. Just like so. And then I'm going to pop this up on some foam, which I have some left over here from what we used for the shaker card. So I'm going to put that on there. Probably going to need another little tiny piece. This one is that too long? Nope, that's perfect. All right. Peel that backing off. And I'm going to add a couple drops of glue on the sticky just to make sure this stays. And I don't want to put it upside down. I'm going to put that right across that top. Straight would be good though. All right. So there is another one. And you can grab like gemstones and bling from your stash that you may have and add it. I like this one just the way it is, so I'm going to leave that one. So we have that one now. And we're going to move on to the next. Clear off this mess. And the next one is going to be the card front with the little geese in their pink outfits. I'm going to go ahead and put the white or the pink, light pink cardstock on the inside first. I'm going to make sure I cut it right first. Yes, I did. Okay, so this card base, again, I used white cardstock, heavier cardstock. This one was 9.5 by 6. So it is scored down the 9.5 at 4 3/4. And our pink piece that goes on the inside to line it is 4.5 by 5 3/4. All right, got our pink laid down, and we'll do the light pink seal on the inside of this one. I love those little wax seals. Okay, I'll give this a good burnish. Put that over. For this one, I cut Black Artisan at 4.5 by 5 3/4. That orange glitter, which is called, again, it's the Tonic Craft Perfect Glitter Cardstock Sugared Coral. And it is 4 3/8 by 5 5/8. I'm going to put that down. On our black. I'm just going to leave just a little bit of black showing all the way around, which is what I wanted. Slide it around a bit if you need to. Give that a good burnish. And then our card base. And this I made so that the orange was a little more prominent than the black. And of course, it's being difficult. Come on now. It's not wanting to line up for me. There we go. Give that a good burnish, especially around your edges. I don't need my hair in there. But you'll love that when you're crafting and you get fuzz or hair or something in your way. I don't love it. Okay, and then we have our white card base. For this one, this is the same. It is 4 3/4 card by 6. So 9.5. I think I already told you, but 9.5, scored at 4 3/4. And we are going to put this on the card base. And I did make this one so you see a little more white, just like the orange. Yep, that's that. If you wanted to see more black, you could make your black a little thicker or your measurements a little different. For this one, I have the In October We Wear Pink. And I am just going to glue that down to a scrap of black artisan, leaving a little bit showing all the way around, about 1/8 of an inch. And that is one crooked piece of black I have here, but that's okay. And I'm going to use a cutter here. I just grab my guillotine, and we're just going to cut that. Straighten that out just a bit because I don't like it. Just trim. You don't have to have it perfect. I'm going to use my scissors actually to get this a little bit thinner of a black line on the bottom. And that works for me. And again, I'm going to pop this up on some foam. I'm going to grab some square foam. And the square foam I'm using is from a past design team kit, so that you can use any foam squares that you may have or foam tape. You just need to put some across here to make it stand up just a bit off the card. Looks nice. Let me see if I like that. Yeah, that's good. I don't need double. You could double it if you want them to stick up, but if you're going to mail this, keep that in mind when you're doing embellishments. I did a thinner shaker card so that it would be mailable. And then we just have to decide where to put this. You can put it right in the middle. You can put it across the bottom. I don't want to cover the pumpkin, so I'm going to put this right up here in the top. Okay, I'm going to add some glue, just a dot on each one of those stickies to make sure that it does actually stick. I'm just looking to see if it's straight. All right. And there's card number 3. On to the next. Card number 4. Again, I'm going to have that light pink on the inside. And we're going to use this. And this one is triple matted. So this card base came out to be also 4 3/4 by 6. So it's again the same as the last. And then we have black paper, artisan, 4 5/8 by 5 7/8. I have that light pink glitter, 4 1/2 by 5 3/4. I have, this is Nebula Purple Glitter card, and this is 4 3/8 by 5 5/8, and then of course our card front. So we're going to go in and put our pink in here. And like I said, you don't have to line yours. I just I like that finished look. All right, so for this one, grab another one of these hot pink guys. Put it on there. And I dropped one. I don't want to drop them, I want to use them. All right, so then our front. Let's build our front. I'm going to start with black and then the pink. Oh, I still have it. So this was called Pink Delight. My colors is what I had. Just using stuff from CCC that I have in my stash. I'm not sure if any of my stash is still available. But you can take a look, or you can use whatever's in your stash. All right, I'm gonna have to move that around just a bit. Nope, that's good. All right, we got our pink on there. Next is the purple. Again, that's Purple Nebula. I know this one is still in the store. Goes really nicely with this card kit. It's like the perfect purple for it. Okay. All right, and then our card front. And this one will show about 1/8 of an inch of that purple all the way around. And that is that. Now for this one, I am doing, this is a witch. I thought Wicked Strong. Let's see what we got for this one. What did I pick for this one? I think that one was actually supposed to go with the witch over here. I did not cut a sentiment for this one. Not quite sure why I didn't, but I didn't. I'm going to give this a good burnish on the back. So you have Pink Power we could use. We could use Fearless in pink. In October we wear pink. I used that one. I just might not put a sentiment on this one. I kind of like this card just the way it is, but you could definitely put a sentiment. All right, we're going to put our card base on, our card front on the card base now that we have it all stacked. I find it is much easier when making cards that are layered like this to put all of the pieces together and then adhere it to the card base. And that gives you a little bit more time to move things around, I feel like. Okay, there's that one. I'm going to open this up and give it a burnish from the inside. All right, there is that one. Now, Pink Power, I think that would work. We'll do Pink Power. So I'm going to grab my piece of black scrap here. And I have a piece of black scrap that's smaller, so I'm going to use it. Clean that up. And then I'm going to cut this with my cutter. That did not cut straight by any means. That's better. All right. Pop this up on a couple of these dots. Probably take about 3 for this one. Maybe 4. Especially when Jen gets them all crooked. All right. Add some glue. And let's put this one down here in the corner. Nice and straight. And this one I know what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to add a couple little glittery pink dots, which I have some that were from the same. Let's see if these show up nicely. These are from the, well, if I don't lose them, there it is, where we have all these little stars. I can add these. So I'm going to add a little drop of glue where that shooting star is and one where that one is. These are from the Buttons Galore and More Strawberry. Well, I don't have one of those little tools that you pick things up with. Probably should get one of those one of these days. I probably should have used a smaller one there. Let's move that one. I'll get a littler one out. That one's kind of big. You can't see the stars on the side. Too much glue. Clean up the glue mess. These are nice, smooth linen paper. So you should be able to just use a little bit of damp cloth if you make a boo-boo mess like I just did. All right, I'm going to find a smaller one in here. And there's one right inside the package. Clean that mess up. And just get a nice little dot. There we go. I think this is the littlest size. It is. Okay, it's still a little big, but that's okay. And then let's do another one so that it doesn't, well, that one didn't stick. Goodness me. I'll do another one right here. Just so we have 3. It is messy. I'm cleaning it up. I might have to take a little bit of a cotton swab to clean that one because it did make a little bit of a mess. I don't need so much glue, even though it dries clear, so you really don't have to worry. If you're using art glitter, it does dry clear. No, I don't want you to stick to my finger. I want you to stick to the paper. Oh my goodness. Today is not my day for sticky stuff. I apologize. I don't know why I'm having trouble with sticky stuff. It is not usually a problem. But today, it wants to be a problem. All right. So, there we have that one. On to the next. This one is going to have a black card base. And I believe I did this one a little bit bigger, possibly, or is it the same? No, it's the same. 4 3/4 by 6. So our insert is 4 1/2 by 5 3/4. And then we'll use this florally one of our wax seals to go in there. And I got my liner just a wee bit crooked there. Sorry about that. But it still will work. All right, let's get this burnished nicely. And then we will build our base. So we have the Pink Delight, 4 1/2, 5 3/4. Then we have black, that is 4 3/8 by 5 5/8, and then our card base. So let's do our black onto our pink. And then I'm actually thinking maybe I want to pop this one up a little bit, but you could with a piece of chipboard, but I'm just going to put it down. I want this to be mailable, so I don't want to get it too thick. Here we go, and this has got to move down just a bit this way. Gotta zhuzh it. And once you have that all smoothed out, then we can just put that right on our card base. And this one is designed to see a little bit more of the black. We did that on purpose. I'm going to go to the back side of this for burnishing. And that we have. And then we have Fearless in Pink for our sentiment for this one. So I'm just going to glue that down to a piece of black scrap. Clean off all the excess glue. And then I'm going to stick this in my cutter. to, I think I have one here already that's cut in half. Pop this up, and I just split these on the sheet. It's just as easy. So I'm just cutting one of these in half. You could fit a whole one probably on here, but I don't feel that it's necessary. Peel my backing off. And we will put Fearless and Pink. Where do we want to put this? Let's see. You could even put it this way. I think I will. I'm going to put it this way. I like it. All right. Now this girl could use a little bling too, I think. So we're going to just do some random blinging. Hopefully this time I don't make a huge mess. I will make it a little simpler by using some of the bigger ones. I say simpler, but is it really? No. All right, there's one, and then I'm going to grab a couple more out of the package here. There's a couple little ones already down here. That works. I'm just going to do a couple little drops. Come on, stick. I think it's because my fingers are sticky that it's giving me fits today. Because I've had my hands in glue and sticky stuff all day, so it wants to stick to me. Goodness. There we go. Now I've got glue sticky stuff all over my jewel, and I don't want that. Clean that up a bit. There we go. And you could put some more down here if you wanted to. I like those three. And we have one more card left. And I am going to do a black back, excuse me, a black base. This one's going to have a white insert. And again, we are the same size. So we're going to put our white insert inside here first. And then I should have one more wax seal here, this light pink one. There are plenty in the kit. And then for this one, I have white that is 4 5/8 by 5 7/8. I have a hot pink cardstock that is 4 1/2 by 5 3/4. So we'll start with that hot pink onto the white. Yep, my fingers are sticky. That is definitely the issue here. go. Okay, and then I have our card front that goes on top of that, and you will see more of the pink. I made it 1/8 of an inch bigger than I normally would. All right, and then we'll put this on our card base. Add our sentiment, and this is our last card. All right. I'm going to flip this open and give it a good burnish. And then for this one, we have the Wicked Strong. Also going to put this on Black Artisan Scrap. And I'm just going to cut this one with my scissors. And add our little dots, foam dots, whatever you want to call them. All right. Add a little glue. I don't know why I always go to that edge, but I'm going to put this one on the top this time. I am always drawn to putting these at the bottom, and it's nice to have a couple at the top. All right. So does this one need any bling? Let's see here. You know, I don't necessarily think this one needs it. You could put it on there, but that is our 6 cards. And this one, again, super fun shaker card. And I hope you watch the walkthrough so that you can see these up close and take a look and just gather up the card kit with some colored cardstocks, some gemstones, bling, shaker bits, foam, glue, and you will be set to make this fun card kit. I hope you're enjoying our blog hop. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye.